Hey everyone, Eduardo here. And if you collect Social Security, or you're about to, I need you to stay with me for the next few minutes because two things just happened in the last couple of weeks that directly affect your check. Not next decade, not someday, this summer. I'm going to walk you through both of them in plain language, tell you exactly what they mean for your wallet, and give you something practical you can actually do. Let's get into it. The 2032 deadline just got closer. Every single year, the government is required by law to publish what's called the Social Security Trustees Report. Think of it like a financial checkup for the entire program. They look at how much money is coming in, how much is going out, and how long the reserves can hold up. The 2025 report just dropped on June 9th, and one number stood out immediately. 2032. That is now the projected year that Social Security's reserve fund, the savings account that helps cover the gap between what comes in and what goes out, runs dry. Now, last year's report said early 2033. This year, late 2032. That's the deadline moving toward us, not away from us, and this is the second year in a row it has moved in the wrong direction. Now, before anyone panics, and I mean this, Social Security is not going bankrupt. I want to be very clear about that. Even after 2032, money is still coming in from payroll taxes every single week. Workers are still paying in. The program doesn't just shut off. But here's the problem. Once those reserves are gone, the incoming taxes alone only cover about 78 cents of every dollar that's owed. Which means, under current law, if Congress does nothing between now and then, and I want you to hear this, there would be an automatic, across-the-board benefit cut of roughly 22%. Not based on your income, not based on your age. Everyone, same day, same cut. Let me put real numbers on that. If you're collecting one that's $800 a month right now, a 22% cut takes $396 away from you. Your check goes from one that's $1,800 to $404. If you're at $2,200 a month, you lose $484. That's not a rounding error. For a lot of the people watching this, that's groceries. That's a utility bill. That's a prescription. Now here's the part that really got my attention. And honestly, it frustrated me a little. One of the reasons the deadline moved closer is the senior tax break that was included in the big legislation passed in 2025. On the surface, that break is a good thing. Retirees paying less tax on their Social Security income. I'm not going to argue against that. But here's what most people weren't told. A portion of those taxes used to flow back into the Social Security Trust Fund. When you reduce the tax, you reduce that flow. The trustees said directly that this is part of why the clock moved forward, so the same bill that gave seniors a tax win quietly nudged the deadline closer. Both things are true at the same time. What should you actually do with this information? First, nothing drastic. Every dollar of your benefit is fully funded through 2032 as the law stands today. Nobody is cutting your check this month or this year. Second, if you haven't claimed yet and you're weighing when to file, this is now part of the conversation. Claiming earlier locks in your benefit under today's rules. Waiting until 70 gives you a higher monthly amount, but it puts more weight on Congress acting in time. There's no single right answer. It depends on your health, your other income, your situation. But you deserve to make that decision with the full picture. Third, pay attention to what politicians are proposing. You now know the baseline. A 22% cut is what happens if they do nothing. Measure every proposal against that number. Your 2027 raise is being set right now. Okay, second thing. And this one surprises almost everyone when I explain it. Most people assume the cost of living adjustment, your annual COLA raise, is based on prices across the whole year. It's not. The Social Security Administration only looks at 3 months. July, August, and September. Whatever inflation does during that window is what determines your raise for all of next year. That window opens in July, literally days from now. So the prices you are paying at the grocery store, at the gas pump, on your electric bill right now, those are the exact prices that will shape your 2027 check. On June 13th, the latest inflation data came out. The index that feeds the COLA calculation came in at 4.4% over the past year, the highest reading in 3 years. Energy costs are a big driver. Groceries are climbing faster than the official numbers even suggest. Based on that, analysts are now projecting the 2027 COLA somewhere between 3.8% and 4.7%. This year's raise was 2.8%, which added about $56 a month to the average check. A 4.7% raise would be closer to $98 a month on that same average benefit. So on paper, that sounds like good news, right? Here's why I'm not celebrating yet, and why you shouldn't either. A bigger COLA doesn't mean you're getting ahead. It means prices went up enough to force a bigger raise. And here's the painful part. Prices hit your wallet months before the raise hits your check. The raise doesn't arrive until January. The higher prices are here right now, today, in July. So let's say inflation runs at 4.4% this year. Your costs go up $88 a month. Your raise in January covers $98. You barely break even. And that's the optimistic version. In most years, the raise doesn't fully cover the real cost increases seniors face because the formula doesn't weight healthcare and housing the way most retirees actually spend their money. And here's what makes this even more urgent. A survey released this week found that 44% of retirees, nearly 25 million people, now rely on Social Security for 100% of their income. That number was 39% just a year ago. More people than ever have no backup, no second income, no cushion. They are walking straight into a gap between what things cost and what their raise can cover. So what do? Don't rearrange your budget around a COLA estimate. The official number won't be set until October, after the summer data is counted. What you're seeing now is a direction, not a final number. What I'd encourage you to do is budget for the gap. Don't plan as if your raise will cover everything. Plan as if your costs are rising faster than your check. Because historically, for most seniors, they are. If you can set aside even a small cushion this summer, do it now rather than waiting on a January raise that's already behind by the time it arrives. So here's the bottom line. The Social Security Trust Fund deadline just moved to late 2032, closer than it was last year, and partly because of a tax break that was sold as a win for seniors. If Congress doesn't act, that means an automatic 22% cut for everyone. And the inflation data from this summer is already setting up your 2027 raise. One that may look big on paper but still won't fully keep up with what you're actually paying. None of this is a reason to panic. But it is a reason to pay attention, plan ahead, and stop letting politicians hand you half the story. I'm Eduardo. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a CPA. I'm just someone who pays close attention to this stuff so you don't have to do it alone. If this was helpful, share it with someone you know who's on Social Security. They deserve the straight version too. I'll see you in the next one.